Alright. Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Peter, are you okay?
Oh, God, yeah. I'm fine.
Okay, after that just hilarious coughing attempt. Welcome back to Car Chats. I'm Alex,
And I am Peter, and yes, this is the second episode of Car Chats, what will hopefully be a weekly podcast where I and Alex discuss the various happenings in the gaming, movie, music, art, culture, whatever's happening around us while we're cruising the streets.
And eventually we're going
worlds.
to do a separate food channel in the near future.
I mean, there will be many other shows,
Yeah,
not just food.
Definitely on food.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to bring up something that we didn't talk about last time, which was Skyrim. I think we mentioned it in passing, but we never really talked about it in terms of games.
Did we not? Oh,
Not a lot, though. Which is part of, as most of you guys know, is part of the Elder Scrolls series, which I personally have loved. Because most of you probably remember Morrowind from way back in the day, if you're as old as I am.
yeah, that was on the original Xbox, correct?
Now, from what I've gathered from most people, and this is including me, but this might not be everybody, I hated the hell out of Morrowind. And I think a lot of people did too, for some reason.
Really? Well, I mean, I can't say I never played more.
You never played it?
Nope.
Oh, dude, everyone played like the first 5 minutes of the game and then just said, fuck it.
Really? What was so bad about it?
It was just like, the combat system just didn't work very good.
That's it?
Yeah, well then, yeah, and it just wasn't, it was all dark and muddy, and the graphics were terrible. They were like different shades of brown, pretty much.
I mean, what did you expect? It was the first Xbox, right?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't expect much out of the technology at that point, and I think it also came out right at the beginning of that console cycle, right? Around the time when the Xbox first came out, so...
That's true. It was the very, very early days of the Xbox. It was like one of the first, like in the first year, I think it was out.
It came out on the PC, though, and from all of my PC gaming friends seem to have enjoyed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it had a very, very strong modding community, which helps make a game.
You know, that helps all PC games, modding, in general.
Yes.
Think about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the big ups of PC gaming in the first place.
That's
just
true.
that.
I just can't afford a
modding
PC
base.
that can run them very good. That's always been my problem.
Yeah, I actually got a PC after my MacBook was stolen because I wanted to actually try to get into PC gaming, but I'll tell you, maybe it's just because I never started with the PC. I grew up with a joystick with a controller in my hand playing games. So I just can't get into it, man.
Yeah, I can't.
I really
either.
can't.
I don't like clicking. It just doesn't feel like I'm playing a game. It just feels like I'm just messing around.
I guess that's one way to look at it.
But
However, I have played a couple of computer games where there are a bunch of games now where you can just plug in an Xbox controller, which has a USB connection, a wired one, into your computer and use that. So I downloaded Bastion a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you ever played it. I recommend it. It's an indie game. I'm not sure how you describe it. Sort of like one of those old school brawler RPG type games.
Yes, I remember those.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very interesting. You wouldn't imagine that it would be the kind of game that would be incredibly compelling and visually beautiful, but it is.
Yeah, well, PCs will always have higher graphics than any console because
Yeah,
they just have more power.
they have significantly better technological
Oblivion
specs.
looks great on the PC.
Yeah, have you seen any of the Skyrim mods?
No, I actually haven't.
I'd recommend checking them out, even though you don't have a PC. It just makes the game look absolutely stunning. Better resolution, higher textures, and
I'm down. I love everything about Skyrim.
all that stuff.
Yeah, after Morrowind, did you like Oblivion? Did you play it?
Dude, I loved the hell out of Oblivion.
I did too. I played
That was actually the first Xbox 360 game I ever bought.
Really?
Yep, Oblivion.
That was your first Xbox? Wow.
Indeed.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I think I made a good call.
You definitely did. But yeah, and that map was the first game to really have a big world map, I think. That had a world map that was relatively large size.
Yeah, that was definitely the first game I played where no matter what, I felt like I was part of a larger world. I
Yeah,
guess.
its immersion was impressive. And Skyrim just improved upon it, really,
Yeah.
man.
And speaking of, excuse me. Speaking of the Elder Scrolls, I wanted to pick your brain about this, Alex, but I think it was about a week or two ago, it was announced that the Elder Scrolls Online, the MMO RPG that Bethesda is developing with some.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, they're publishing it, and it's being developed by another studio. I can't remember the name, ZeniMax, I think, but the game is going to institute a $15 monthly fee.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Really?
it's going to be $60
Oh no.
to buy the game, and then it's going to be a $15 monthly fee. I think I heard that the first month though is going to be free, but after that, yeah, you're going to have that $15 monthly fee.
I mean, I had heard that Elder Scrolls was doing an MMO, and I was upset. I was angry because I don't really like MMOs that much. I don't, and I know there are gonna be a lot of people that disagree, but and I may be a hypocrite because I played World of Warcraft, and I realize that makes me look hypocritical. I know, but there's no immersion in an MMO. It's hard to be immersed in this epic world when there's a bunch of other people just around you,
running around doing their own thing.
And
right?
you know, I think it also suffers from what we talked about last time, the Xbox Live phenomenon. Just annoying people. And that's, you know, it's fun in Xbox Live, but I think MMOs, the people are worse than they are in Xbox Live, which is saying something, because, you know, there's the 13-year-old Xbox Live boys that, you know, that stereotype that we've all heard of before.
Racist jackholes on the internet.
Oh, yes, yeah. Racist people.
Yes.
People who use profanity to insane degrees, but I think MMOs people are worse. Like, I didn't play MMOs the way I have a twin brother, and you remember Chris, my twin brother Christopher was addicted to World of Warcraft. And I'm sure many gamers of you out there knew somebody or heard of somebody who was addicted to World of Warcraft. And from what I've learned is that, like, World of Warcraft isn't really a game once you get into it. It's like a job you have to do.
Dude, you just stole my point. I was just about to say, I feel like a problem with World of Warcraft, and it's something that's especially problematic with RPGs, is that when you boot up a game and you've written out a list, you know, either a physical list or a mental list of things you have to do in the game, then there's a problem. Because I feel like you're not having fun. You're doing work.
Yeah, that's what guilds are. Guild is like a second job that you pay for. Because it's like, there's like organizing, there's planning, it's like, just like drawing fucking blueprints to play a game. And people get angry. Like, my brother was in a guild, and they would do guild bosses, and if it's like a guild, for those of you who don't know, it's like a group of people who play the game together. It's usually like 40 around. And if they messed up or something went wrong, people would start throwing fits. I mean, there are videos of people playing World of Warcraft who are freaking the hell out. And I do remember, like, the one video. Remember that kid who lost his account and he just freaked out? You remember that one? Where his brother put the camera in his room?
I think that was fake.
Was that fake?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was fake.
Oh. It might, well, maybe it was fake.
If it's the video that I think you're talking about, then I'm pretty sure it was
fake.
fake.
Sure it's fake, but I'm sure that's not really that exaggerated, though.
Yeah, you know, there are probably some people like that.
I knew that happened to my brother, actually. One time, the internet was down, and he literally just fucking threw a keyboard. Chris threw a keyboard one time. Like, he lost control. But it's amazing, and the thing is like, nobody has ever, and this is why I think Elder Scrolls is stupid to try to copy World of Warcraft, because that's what they're doing, I think, in the long run. Like, they're gonna say they're not, but they're trying to remake the money World of Warcraft has gotten. Because I actually one time met somebody who worked in the PR for Blizzard. I met one time as a friend of my dad's, and the amount of money they made is insane. Like, it's more than probably any other game ever created.
Yeah, well, they have a couple million subscribers at $15 a month in a year. That's $180 times, I don't know how many subscribers they have, like a few million. Yeah.
They used to have, like, about $15 million, I think, at one point.
So that is crazy money. But I also want to get back to this question of pricing, because when I heard about this, I read an article that pretty much said that the Elder Scrolls Online had shot themselves in the foot by instituting this payment policy. And that's because, if you've noticed, pretty much gamers really don't like to pay an additional fee on top of a game.
No.
Especially if it's a monthly one. As he pointed out, do you remember the Star Wars MMO?
Yes, I
Knights
do.
of the Old Republic. No, not Knights of the Old Republic. The
Old Republic.
The Old Republic. Yeah, that started off with an online fee, but there was too much backlash. They went to a free to play. They made it free to play. And I've even heard rumors that World of Warcraft is going to go free to play soon as well.
Really?
Just because, yeah, they've made a lot of money, and at this point they're just losing people. Because they've been around for almost 10. They've been working on it for 10 years.
10 years.
And people almost.
Man, that
10,
makes me feel old.
almost 10 years. Yeah, the game came out in 2004.
Oh my god,
And
I
they're
remember
just
playing
losing.
it almost when it first came out. It's kind of creepy, actually.
But I mean, they're losing money on it at this point, so
Yeah.
why not make it free? And that might get more players into the game.
And given that, World of Warcraft made a lot of money, but I think it was, one of those things that, is a one-hit wonder. Because Star Wars, which is maybe the most famous sci-fi property, except for maybe Star Trek, is probably a bigger property. And Star Trek did an MMO. I don't know if you know this. Have you heard of Star Trek Online?
Yes, I did.
They did their own MMORPG, and it failed. Star Wars basically failed. And BioWare, who does make great games, couldn't, and maybe some of the best ones, at least to me, could not make a successful MMO. So
Yeah,
I don't understand why Elder Scrolls thinks they can do better.
I mean, they know how to make a great game, but at the same time, I think World of Warcraft just came out at the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Since what else was there? EverQuest? And that was what the...
And RuneScape. Do you remember RuneScape?
Yeah, I remember RuneScape. I never played it before, but I remember it.
It was pretty shit. But it was just like a one-time thing. Right place, right time. Like you said. And I just thought, unless Elder Scrolls has an amazing game that they're doing. I mean, if they're gonna be successful, they're gonna need to have one of the, it's gonna have to be better than World of Warcraft in order for it to be successful. And I don't see that happening. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna have to be the most amazing game ever made.
Yeah.
And gamers don't want to pay extra. They don't want to change, and they don't want to fix what ain't broken, basically.
Here's another question. Do
Yeah.
you think that Bethesda will remove this policy? Do you think they'll just go to a free-to-play model? Yeah.
They will.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on
If
that,
the
because
backlash is high enough, they're going to remove it.
we've also seen just how easily video game companies are willing to cave into fan pressure.
Like the Xbox One. I mean, how long did that take from when they actually announced all the features to when they removed them all and backtracked?
Well, they announced all of it at E3, and then maybe it wasn't, but it sure felt like it was about a week when they said, yeah, everything we said at E3 about the Xbox One, forget about it.
I don't know, but it was that quick. And Mass Effect, that ending.
Yeah.
And we talked about that outrage before over the ending.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about the ending is, yeah, it wasn't anything special, but I don't know about you, but I've gotten past the point where I really care about, fictional endings and stories and what they do to me.
It proves the power of the writing, though. But yeah, I completely agree with you. I thought it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I've just gotten past the point where I can't get upset about a video game anymore.
I agree. I mean, but it shows the power of the writing.
It does. That people were so emotionally invested.
Yeah, not playing devil's advocate here, but the fact it shows. I think what BioWare should take from it is that the fact that people were so passionate means they know what they're doing.
That's true. It does mean that they did a good job with 3 games.
Yeah, it means that they produced something fantastic. And I hope if they do, they're probably going to do more Mass Effect games, but...
I mean, EA pretty much owns that franchise now, so
Yeah.
yeah, this isn't the last we'll see of Mass Effect.
Yeah. But yeah, like I remember, and I just think the problem with Elder Scrolls Online compared to Skyrim is it's not gonna have that immersion effect. When I played Skyrim, that game just drew me in like a black hole. Like I got sucked into it.
Yeah. Oh, actually, before we move on to the topic of media black holes,
Yeah.
I read another article about shit, I completely lost my train of thought. Hold on.
That always happens. It's like me being in Skyrim. My brain just dies.
Blech, I just got so tongue-tied right now. You know, when we saw the World's End just before.
Oh yeah.
I was so thirsty for that whole movie for the entire 2 hours. I just wanted to get up and get a drink, but I did not want to miss any of that movie, so I just stuck through it.
Exactly.
So sorry, folks. My tongue is dry right now.
Yeah.
But okay. So what I meant to say was about the Elder Scrolls. Back on topic now. It's that this person they played the game, and they wrote an article about all the interesting things that they did within a 2-hour span. The key thing that he noted about the game is that it felt like Skyrim. The thing about that, though, is that he said, I can't really justify anyone buying this game if you already own Skyrim. And that worries me. The Elder Scrolls Online.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign right there.
That's a bad sign. Which means that, yeah, the Elder Scrolls Online is great. You get to play it with your friends, but
It's not Skyrim.
it's not. It's pretty much the same game as Skyrim, and if you already own Skyrim, yeah, there's really no point in picking up the Elder Scrolls Online unless you really, really want to play the Elder Scrolls Online with your friends.
Well, that makes sense, though. I mean, given how great Skyrim of a game was, like, they couldn't match that with an MMO. You just can't. Like, I mean, people diss on single-player games, and many developers do this, but Skyrim sold, like, its opening weekend 5 million copies.
I mean, the thing about the Elder Scrolls game that I always loved is that you're a lone traveler, you know, exploring the world, and then when after a couple hours in, well, not a couple hours, after you realize that you've sunk several days into the game, your character is pretty much a god in the game.
Yeah, I know.
You can, one-shot a dragon with a lightning bolt.
Exactly.
Powerful. And if you're going to make an MMO where you have, player versus player battles, you're not going to be able to do that because it'll be too unbalanced.
Exactly. It'll be way too unbalanced. And you know what? And there just won't be that depth. And you can't because everything is so formulated for multiple players, because it's designed for many people to be playing. Everything is going to be very kind of very surface-like. And what I mean is there's not going to be much depth to it. Because they have so many people playing basically a game at the same time with so many different type of people that you can't have that depth. You can't put the amount of detail you can. Because it's going to be probably a bigger world than Skyrim, I imagine. Because MMO worlds are huge to begin with.
That's true.
So they can't have that depth. Like in Skyrim, which impressed me is how many books there are in the game. And one of my brother's friends read all of them. He read a fake book in a fictional world.
Who the fuck reads books in video games?
You
play video games not to read books.
Well,
That's what I do. I play video games so I don't have to read.
I know, that's what's so great about it. That they made basically thousands of books, its own fake history, which is impressive in and of itself, but that you're not going to see a bunch of fake books around, or and there's thousands of caves, but they're all unique and different in some way. You're not going to see that in Elder Scrolls Online. It's going to be probably the same generic enemies, and it's going to have the same problem. And basically, whatever the classes are, and I'm sure there's going to be a variety of them, using the same 5 moves and using those 5 moves over and over again. It's going to have the same problems WoW did. And it's gonna have the same, basically, and I know this from playing an MMO before. I don't know if you've ever gotten really into one.
I've never been interested in MMOs.
Yeah. Well, coming from someone who was addicted to an MMO, you're gonna get the same, just angry, jerk-off people. I mean, it's what's going to happen.
Yeah, if the community sucks, then the gaming experience will also suck.
Yeah. That's the
Without
problem
a
I
doubt.
have with Xbox Live. If the people around you are jerks, how are you supposed to have fun? Like, somebody tell me that.
I mean, I just mute everyone, but
Yeah.
then it's just kind of boring.
And here's the thing about an MMO. I love how you brought up muting. The main difference between Xbox Live and MMO, you can't mute people.
Oh yeah, because you
So
have
they're
the little
typing.
Yeah, you have the little chat thing at the bottom.
So, they're gonna be people spamming stuff, and you can't block it. Which I think makes it worse in a way, when you think about it.
Yeah. Wait, is there actually no way to turn that little chat thing off?
You can ignore people, but it won't work. Like, if there's a player spamming, you can put them on your, an ignore list. They had this in World of Warcraft, and I assume they'll have something similar in Elder Scrolls Online, because all MMORPGs work the same, pretty much. But what people did is, have you heard of, in World of Warcraft, just going off on this topic for a second, of the Japanese gold farmers, or the Chinese gold farmers?
Yes, I have.
What
heard
they would
of the
do is
Chinese
they would
gold
make all
farmers.
these little mini level 1 characters, spam crap, go off online, spam crap again, go off online. And they would just do this over and over and over and over. And that's what happened. Like, there was no way to get around the spamming. And people just did it. And the admins, or the administrators of the game, didn't do much. And Elder Scrolls Online, I guarantee, is going to have the same problems. And it just made and I think that's why people stopped playing, because it was just not fun. It's not fun to be around miserable people. Whether in, doing out on the street or in a video game. So, it baffles me why Bethesda thought this was a good idea.
I mean, as I told you before, it's probably just going to, I mean, my hope is that it's just a side project that turns into something, well, no, it's just something,
You should just hope it's not bad.
Sure. I don't even remember what I'm saying.
No. That's kind of what you were
Right
getting.
now, my mouth feels like I've been licking sandpaper right now.
What was the did you, not have a drink of water today?
Maybe. Especially in this heat, it sure feels like you can go.
Like, what was the last time you had water? Like, yesterday? Oh, yeah, it was, 90 degrees today or something.
Yeah. But no, you know what I'm worried about, though, with the Elder Scrolls Online? What was the last Warcraft game that came out?
World of Warcraft?
No, not World of Warcraft. I mean the last actual Warcraft
Warcraft
real-time strategy game.
I want to say Warcraft 3, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, have you ever wondered what happened to Warcraft 4?
No, I never played Warcraft 3, so... I don't know.
Well, I'm really, really worried that the Elder Scrolls will go through the same thing, where the Elder Scrolls Online becomes the dominant franchise, and then we never see Elder Scrolls 6 again. Because as I told you before, what I would rather that Bethesda what I think Bethesda should do is to just reinvest all of their energy and effort into making the Elder Scrolls 6.
I hope so. That's a good point, actually. That would be disappointing, because I think the Elder Scrolls series has been one of the few game series I still really care about.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I hope that the Elder Scrolls Online is good.
I hope so, too, but...
But I really, really hope that we will still get an Elder Scrolls 6.
I think we will, though, because if it does, like we think, bomb, because we think it's gonna bomb, at least I do, they're gonna try to do Elder Scrolls 6, because they know if they just do a single player, again, people will buy it in droves, especially fans who would be so happy, I'm thinking way in the future here. If Elder Scrolls Online turns out to be terrible, and they remake it, and they make an Elder Scrolls 6, those same fans will buy it in droves, just to be like, just to have them forget the terrible game they played before.
And that's true. And I also can't forget that Bethesda is not Blizzard. Remember how long it took for StarCraft 2 to come out?
That was like, how many, like a decade?
It took, I don't remember. It took a very, very long time for StarCraft 2 to come out. And that's just Blizzard. That's what Blizzard does. They really take their time with their games. I mean, they make good games, but they don't rush.
Yeah,
they don't rush their games, just like Valve. Bethesda, meanwhile, I think they're pretty consistent. You know, Morrowind came out in, like 2001,
Yeah.
Oblivion 06, and then Skyrim in 2011.
Yeah.
You had Fallout 3 in 2008.
Oh yeah, Fallout.
And then Fallout New Vegas 2 years later.
Oh, now you got to a point. You said you love that immersion, and you don't like Fallout, do you?
Let's save that for another episode. You know what I feel like we've ripped on Elder Scrolls Online enough.
Yeah, we just ripped it really
So
bad.
I'll just end this segment by saying I'm a bit apprehensive about the Elder Scrolls Online, but I hope it's interesting, and I hope I have the chance to play it and maybe get hooked onto an MMO for the first time. Alex.
And I'm gonna say one more thing. Like, I hope it's good because Warcraft, at least in the beginning, was a really great game when the first original game that came out before the expansions. And do I have doubts about it being good? Yes. But if there is one property that could at least dethrone World of Warcraft from the top of the MMORPG world, it would be Elder Scrolls. Because if Star Trek couldn't do it and Star Wars couldn't do it, Elder Scrolls is really the last hope. At least to me. Alright, this has been another episode of Car Chats with myself, Alex, and my amigo Peter.
What the hell are you talking about? We're not done.
Oh, we're not done?
Yeah, we've got more to talk about, brother.
You sounded like you were finishing it off, my friend.
No, I mean, we're done with talking about the Elder Scrolls Online.
I thought you were cutting off the chat.
No, we're not. Oh, we're not done.
You just said that's how you phrased it, my friend. That's how you phrased it.
You thought you were gonna walk away from this, didn't you?
Holy crap!
Whoa,
Okay,
what the fuck
by the way,
was that?
And during Car Chats, we're actually driving a car. So if we ever accidentally yell out because some of a terrible driver, I apologize.
Some dipshit in a black Ford Explorer cuts across 3 lanes of traffic to make a left.
Yep.
Then we apologize for our outbursts.
Because, as you know, while driving, stuff happens.
Shit does happen.
So what do you want to talk about after I prematurely did a sign-off right there?
Well, we were talking about Skyrim for a while, and
Oh yeah, Skyrim.
I wanted to discuss my Skyrim hole with you.
Oh, back to the Skyrim black hole.
Yeah, talking about media black holes. I got bored one afternoon, so I figured, you know what? I will pop in Skyrim again. I haven't played this game in a while. I haven't played any game in a while. So I wonder what's going on in Skyrim. And yeah, that's pretty much been my week. Popped in Skyrim, and all of a sudden it's Saturday, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know what happened to Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday. Something happened to them. Yeah, but I was wondering, Alex, if you've, not just video games, but if you've ever been completely enraptured by anything else, any other medium.
Oh yes.
That just
I can name a long list of that. Well, I got enraptured by Skyrim, and this happened to me when I first got it. It would be like 9 in the morning, and this happened one Saturday. I just get coffee. I'm a caffeine. I love coffee. Rude to the caffeine love. And I would just get coffee, get some food, and put it in Skyrim. The next time I look up, it would just be dark outside.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not alone on that.
That happened with World of Warcraft. That is the biggest time black hole of any game. Speaking of just games, now biggest black hole ever. I mean, you could just. I mean, I think to prove that World of Warcraft is the biggest black hole game, somebody, like, died from playing too much World of Warcraft.
That's true.
In China, of course, because they're, like, gaming freaks over there. They really are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing that... oh, sorry about that. I thought I saw something interesting, but it turned out it was not interesting in the slightest. So, back on topic. Actually, what also made me think that this would be a great topic was also the inspiration for me to start playing Skyrim again, which are those goddamn Game of Thrones books.
Yes.
The series A Song of Ice and Fire. I was a fan of the TV show, but after the 3rd season, I just told myself, I can't take it any goddamn more. I gotta fucking read more. So I finally relented, and I bought all the books, and then I pretty much locked myself in my room and read all 5 of them.
I've only gotten to the first 2, but I have not read the other.
Yeah, we'll
3.
pick it up. I really need to talk to someone about these books.
Okay, I will read the books, and we will do a session about Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, and I also...
You can do it. We could do a whole podcast just on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, devoted just to Game of Thrones.
I like that idea.
Yeah, but I will admit, I have to confess this, and maybe this will tarnish any credibility, the very, very limited credibility that I've established, but I think starting from the 3rd book, I started to skip all the Daenerys chapters.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't find her character interesting?
I don't like her.
I don't, from the 2 books I've read, she just seems to have a less interesting story.
Yeah, she's one of the most popular characters, though, in the series, though. But I gotta tell you, maybe this will be better suited for a Game of Thrones podcast.
Oh yeah,
but
we can talk about that in a lot.
Well, not a separate podcast, but our Game of Thrones show. But I cannot stand the poor girl, Dany. Yeah, I just wish that she wasn't in it, to be honest. So I guess I got my wish by skipping her chapters. And it's actually even worse in the TV show, because you know how she's sort of in this Northern African, Middle Eastern type setting for pretty much the whole series so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently my hatred for Daenerys Targaryen is so deep that whenever I'm watching the TV show, since I would always watch old recordings, recorded on DVR.
Yeah.
Whenever I saw sand, I'd press the fast forward button.
She just, my favorite Game of Thrones. Oh man, we're getting so into Game of Thrones. I love Jon Snow. He's my favorite character.
Jon Snow.
And there's a long story of why I think he exists. I just think everything about the Night Watch and the Wall, I just find more interesting than all the kings and throne power struggle. Which is weird, because that's the more important part of the story, but...
Yeah, I do too, because...
I found Jon Snow's whole plot just to be infinitely more interesting.
Alright, so spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched Game of Thrones, but the very first scene of Game of Thrones follows a group of these men called the Night's Watch, and pretty much... in the universe of Game of Thrones, there's this massive wall made of ice, 700 feet tall, that stretches from coast to coast. And it's meant to ward off some unknown threat that's been forgotten, but should be remembered by everyone. So there's this group of men called the Night's Watch. They're rangers who perform reconnaissance in the areas beyond the wall, as they like to call it. So the very first scene of Game of Thrones follows these three rangers. They're exploring the north, the area beyond the wall, and then they find something very suspicious. And then they're ambushed by these magical creatures. The White Walkers.
Yeah.
And they're killed. One of them escapes. He tries to warn everyone, but he's executed for deserting his post. So I will admit, when I first started watching Game of Thrones, I watched it cold. I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was more of a realistic medieval political drama.
Mm.
You know, sort of, I guess like The Wire, set in the 13th century.
The Wire, the medieval edition. Yeah,
Yes.
I got you.
So when I saw that, I was so shocked, and then they were having all these discussions about politics and marriages, and for the entire first season, I was thinking to myself, so I know you guys weren't there and all, but I feel like we should really talk about, the magic
Yeah, the magic
and the
stuff.
dead people. There are dead people in this world, and they want to kill all of you. Maybe we should, just put aside your differences for a couple of minutes and let's talk about this for a bit.
And I loved how Ed Stark was Sean Bean, and we're gonna throw more spoilers. God, we're doing so much Game of Thrones spoiling. Him dying, like Sean Bean. When I saw it,
Wait, time out. Yeah, Ed Stark, he dies in the first season. It's been what, 3 years since it happened. It's not a spoiler anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm just, I like to be safe.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm sure it's really irrelevant. But yeah, and I read the books before I started watching some of the show, and I was just like, Sean Bean. He dies in everything. He really does.
You knew that he was going to die from the beginning, then, didn't you?
Yeah, when I first because I first saw some of the show, then actually read the first 2 books. I still need to read the other 3, which I will do this weekend. I'm getting that done.
All 3 books? Wait, all 3 books?
I just haven't read the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th one.
So you're going to read all 3 this weekend?
I'm gonna try.
With, 1 day left 2 days left in the
2
weekend?
days left. It's Labor Day Monday, so that gives me an extra day to do it.
Alright. Alex is taking up a pretty mighty challenge.
I don't know. We'll see how I do. But when I first saw Sean Bean, I was just like, he's dead. Because he dies in everything. Sean Bean also is more commonly known as from Lord of the Rings as Boromir, and he dies in that one too.
Yeah. I mean, every movie really. If you go on YouTube, there's a compilation of all of Sean Bean's cinematic deaths.
He mustn't do fake dying. He must be the master at it. That's why
the video is about 4 minutes long.
It's 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna have to watch that.
Around that, yeah. Maybe we'll play it for another episode.
You know why I think he is picked for that? Because every death in everything he's been in is the most over dramatic, way to die that you can think of. Think of the Lord of the Rings movies. His death scene is 5 minutes, 10 minutes long.
That was a badass scene, though.
It is badass. But
I had so much respect for Boromir after that.
Sean Bean's character just dying really slowly.
Yeah. Hey, Alex.
Yeah?
Speaking of a media black hole.
Yeah?
What just happened now?
Yeah, it's gone into a media black hole. Lord of the Rings.
Those goddamn Game of Thrones books and TV shows.
Yep.
They got me again, Alex.
Yeah,
Got
Game
me
of Thrones
hooked,
was the only book
line,
I
and
really
sinker.
got absorbed in. Besides Harry Potter,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean there are, the Harry Potter books, that's another one, but dude, we've talked about this for so much. I feel like we can only say that we were sucked in by the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, I was too. And people somehow are ashamed to admit that. I have no shame in that. When the 7th book came out, this is actually true. I went at 11:30 at night. I bought the book. I got home about 12:30. I got a box of chips. I mean, bag of chips. Wow, that did not come. And then a box, and then I had a bowl of cereal. I sat there, and I finished reading the book at 6 in the morning. Yep.
I just gave Alex some daps right now, since you guys can't see what's going on right now.
Yep, they can't. The fist bumps don't make noise, Peter. But yeah. And wow, we just talked a lot about Game of Thrones. But there's more. There's just more.
Yeah, Harry Potter books.
I
guess in music, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I got into a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, I remember that. Red Hot
Drew
Chili
starting I think a junior year and it ended on question mark since I still love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I haven't stopped loving them yet. And I still listen to them all the time.
You know what?
Probably way too much at this point, I feel.
Probably. I've heard more Red Hot Chili Peppers from you because of you than most people. But one thing that did absorb me in, probably, I don't know if it still absorbs me now, but as a kid, Dragon Ball Z. I loved Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I was into it for a bit, but for some reason I broke off. But the one anime that I will always love and that completely encapsulated me was Gundam Wing.
I have never seen Gundam Wing. I know that's a crime, and you're gonna be you're gonna look so you're gonna be angry.
Not even mad right now, I'm just sad.
You're sad that I've never seen Gundam Wing.
Just sad, dude.
Is it really better than Dragon Ball Z?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's one of the best anime. If I were to give someone an anime to someone who has never been into anime before, I would probably give them a DVD of Ghost in the Shell, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, Paranoia Agent, and Gundam Wing. Those were the 5. I would say, you know what? Just what?
Nothing.
What?
Never mind. Go on.
I mean, that is pretty cool.
That's just a cool photo. We found a podcast photo right there.
What is that? Is that a hotel?
That is a hotel.
Okay.
I actually know the owners of that hotel.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, go on. Sorry, I just totally cut you off.
But yeah, I feel like those 5 series could be the ones would probably convert a non-anime fan to maybe not an anime fan, but I think they would definitely gain more respect for it and a greater interest in that genre.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop's pretty good.
Yeah,
But
Samurai Champloo is also really good. It's by the creator. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Champloo, whatever.
I think it's Champloo? I have no idea.
But I mean, it was by the same guy who made Cowboy Bebop, but
okay.
set in feudal, not feudal Japan, like the Edo period, I think it's called, like the late 19th century Japan, when the West was starting to influence Japanese, when it was combining with Japanese culture.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Now when I think about it, there are a lot of cool anime set during that period. Did you ever watch Rurouni Kenshin? About the wandering ex-samurai who took a vow to not kill anyone or something?
I watched parts of it.
Yeah, that was a really interesting show.
If you remember Josh Weber, he was huge in anime back then.
I wonder what he's
But you
up
didn't
to.
include DBZ on that list, interestingly. Maybe I'm partial, because me and my brothers loved DBZ growing up. It was our thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would show it to someone who's, a bit older, who never grew up with anime.
Why?
Before.
Because you're not the first person I know, because DBZ is something, Dragon Ball Z is something people are very mixed about.
Yeah. No, I like DBZ. It's just got a bit too much of the typical anime conventions. Like the big old sweat drops when someone's embarrassed.
Yeah.
And those random, awkward scenes of comedy that really don't make any sense in the show.
That was like Dragon Ball, which was like Dragon Ball Z's precursor, which the main character is like a kid.
Yeah, and Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo have those moments, but the reason why I picked Ghost in the Shell and Gundam Wing is because those two shows they're pretty serious. They have some bits of comedy, but it's a pretty straight edge.
I agree.
Straight edge show.
Because and I liked it, but when I looked back at Dragon Ball Z, I looked back at it a couple weeks ago, and I realized how, with all the anime, how ridiculous it is. There were episodes I remember just Goku yelling.
Oh yeah, charging up the spirit bomb or something.
And that's the problem I have with a lot of animation shows, is that the main character, in DBZ, and there's a couple other shows, I think, that where the main character is competent, but everyone else is an idiot in the show.
Yeah.
Especially Krillin. Fuck Krillin.
Yeah, just so that Just so the protagonists can have something cool to do.
Yeah, make the protagonists like more badass. They make the supporting characters just look like morons and clueless. And this happens in a lot of like. This I think happened in Avatar: The Last Airbender too, which is a favorite of my brother's in terms of anime-esque shows.
That was a great show.
It is a really good show, but the sidekicks don't really do much.
Yeah.
Not really.
But yeah, there are a couple animes that also got me.
Oh, do you know what
With
anime
applause.
we haven't talked about? I don't know if this is an anime, but probably the biggest anime is probably Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
Is that
Pokemon.
an anime? Is that a cartoon or an anime?
I think it's an anime. It's definitely made
I
in the
mean,
style of an anime.
Yeah, and well, it does come from Japan, so. Man, Pokemon. There's never a franchise I think that has still around. I think they're making new, like, they've made games since, like, 99, I think.
Yeah, and shit, talk about something that sucked me in for way too long. Pokemon.
What, the cards, the game, which one?
Everything about it when I was a kid.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a single kid from our generation who did not like Pokemon. And you know what? If they do say that they didn't like Pokemon, that they never played one of the Pokemon games, they're probably lying. They're full of shit. Don't trust them with anything, ever. Period.
Everyone bought Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Girls and boys, too.
Everyone was interested in Pokemon.
Yeah, everyone bought the cards, but no one knew how to play the card game.
Oh god, that is so true. I can't think of a single person who actually played the card game. Everyone I know just collected them.
Yeah. And then every school subsequently banned all of them.
Oh shit, your school too?
Yeah, my school did. You didn't know that? Every elementary school banned them. Wait, yours did too?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I did not know about this. How big was it? Like, basically, there would just be times where everybody, like, during break would just huddle into circles.
Yeah, with their Game Boys and their link cables. I think there were a couple of scraps over Poke battles, I'm
There are
pretty sure.
fights that happened?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it happened? I know it definitely happened in my school, but the cards were just everybody to just have ego trips of who had rare shinies, remember?
Yeah. Shinies. And then some... Oh god, and then these weird kids nowadays calling them holographics. They're called shinies.
That's the street
Just to set the debate. They're called shinies. Don't give me any of this holographic crap. They're shinies.
But yeah, those Game Boy links. Oh man, that defined my childhood. But your school eventually banned them?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They said you can't bring Game Boys to school.
That's something.
Yeah. What? I thought you said that they banned them at your school as well.
They did. But that just proves how big of a deal it was back then. I mean, unless you're from the 90s, I don't think you understand, like, nothing has ever quite matched that. In terms of how much it absorbed kids' lives.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything, at least that I can remember from those days, that was such a wide-scale phenomenon that was just known to all children.
Yeah, I know. That in fact that it got elementary school's attention also, I think, says something about it, too.
Maybe Jankum.
Oh, yeah, Jankum did, too.
Yeah, even though it was a hoax.
Mm-hmm. Then there was that thing, Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you remember that.
Yeah, that wasn't the same, though.
It wasn't quite the same level. And then that, like...
with Yu-Gi-Oh!, a bunch of kids played it, but deep down, they all knew, yeah, this is some bullshit. Deep down, all those kids knew that Yu-Gi-Oh! It's stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid. And the shows were stupid. Pokemon did a show. That was the stupidest thing ever.
What, the Pokemon show?
Yeah, I watched that one time very drunk.
Yeah, it was...
One time. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was dumb, but you know what, as a kid, I bet you watched it.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that I did.
Whew.
Yeah.
Once again, talk about a media black hole.
Back to... That probably might have been the biggest media black hole ever,
Yeah.
really.
What a tangent. Well, I can't call it a tangent because we were still on topic.
But we did, those are all examples of black holes.
Just a media black hole. Some form of media that just completely sucked you in for far too goddamn long.
And see, that's a black hole that appealed to everybody. And I know somebody is going to equate another black hole to like the Justin Bieber phenomenon. I will punch them in the face if they say that.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Alex, we're too old to give a fuck.
Yeah, I know, but...
And especially by the time when a couple of random jackoffs decide to make a podcast and talk about Justin Bieber as the media black hole of the 21st century, we're going to be way too old to give a shit.
Yep, we will be.
Alright.
But that will make me sad.
So, now that it's the nighttime, I feel like we should move on to another topic, and that is to talk about Ben Affleck as the Knight.
Yes. I'm not sure whether I'm not going 100% like cheering. Okay, speaking of this is back to the Marvel movies that we talked about last time, and the Superman Batman team up, and with Ben Affleck playing Batman. Okay.
Yeah, wait, hold on. How do we get onto Marvel again?
I meant DC, sorry.
Okay,
wow,
DC. Okay, the Justice...
correction, I said Marvel instead of DC. I apologize. I messed up. Okay.
Okay, so...
Backtrack.
What were you saying?
Yeah, so, Ben Affleck as Batman. People are really upset about that.
Which I don't get.
I don't get it either, really. I mean... I love Ben Affleck as an actor. And as a director, too. Yeah. Which I think the problem...
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Ben Affleck as an actor is that he's not... He's kind of one-dimensional in that he always plays Ben Affleck in every movie, but he's really good at playing Ben Affleck, because he's Ben Affleck.
Exactly.
And it was something that pointed out, this place serves really, really great wraps. The garbage truck.
The garbage truck?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll add that onto the food.
The only problem, I think, is that it only shows up outside bars at
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning. At least that was when I went to the garbage truck.
That's not surprising.
Yeah.
People are partying, they need their food.
Oh yeah, and that was a night where I had a lot to drink, and I did not eat anything for 10 hours.
Ooh, man.
Yeah. I'm shocked I didn't puke that night.
I'm amazed you didn't puke either, frankly. Alright, we were just... That nice rap, but yeah, Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, but you've noticed that, right? Where in every movie you can't help
guy.
see... Every time I see Ben Affleck in a movie, I always think, Ben Affleck, what are you doing in fucking, the late 1970s in Argo? Or, Ben Affleck, hey, I didn't know that you were a bank robber in South Boston. I know you were from Boston, but I didn't know that you also robbed banks in Boston.
I think the problem, which I think this is a really risky move by Affleck, because he's been on a high roll recently, really, since he started directing. I mean, The Town, Argo was nominated for several Oscars.
It won Best Picture.
Oh, it did win Best Picture?
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, and that was another question.
And I think he got nominated for Best Director, too.
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask you this question. Do you think that Ben Affleck is taking a step backwards by agreeing to be in what a lot of people are calling just sort of a corporate movie where it's just what's the studio that's producing
Warner Brothers.
Warner Do you think it's just Warner trying to kickstart the Justice League movie?
I think they are, because given how successful Marvel has been, which is Marvel's
the Avengers, yeah,
the Avengers, they realize that they have to keep up now, because Marvel's and Disney have been on a roll. And how long they're going to continue that, we'll see when the new Thor movie comes out, I think, when is it? It comes out in October or November, I think. November. So they realize they need to catch up, and I think they're rushing it. I think they're doing it basically the opposite of how Marvel property is doing it.
Marvel seriously took their time.
And
what was the movie that really kickstarted the Avengers? Was it Iron Man?
Yeah, the first
It was the first Iron Man movie, which came out in 2008.
And it was a big deal. I remember, like, it was the first cool superhero movie since Batman.
Yeah, since
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. Yeah, but you've heard about what they're trying to do with this next Batman Superman movie, where it's going to be, where pretty much it's going to be Superman versus Batman, and Ben Affleck is going to play Batman.
I think that's just they're being lazy, because I know, like, I didn't see Superman.
Yeah, I feel, they're just trying to force the universes together, but it is kind of interesting.
And I think the problem is Batman's going to be immediately compared to Christian Bale's Batman, which came out
true.
Not that long. I mean, the last Batman movie with Christian Bale
Came out last summer.
Like last summer. Like,
yeah, they're really. Well, we also don't know when this next movie is coming out.
Yeah,
it's probably coming out sooner than later.
Yeah, they're going to be. I think they're just going to rush it.
And they're just really not giving Batman any time to breathe. They're not giving moviegoers a break from these superheroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned this before, but I'm worried about the influx of superhero movies.
Yeah, where people are just going to be burned out by them.
Yeah, and I mean, some of them are just side ones, like the new Spider-Man movie that they did.
Yeah.
I hated that movie, and I might be in the minority, but that movie was terrible. But I think like. And I think they're I think with Back to Batman, I think they're desperate to do well, because besides the Dark Knight trilogy, they haven't had success with any DC properties. Like
the Green Lantern was
Green Lantern,
a bust.
For example, which was completely bad. Like they struck out bad. The only thing that resulted of that was Ryan Reynolds got married to Blake Lively, and that was about it.
And Man of Steel did okay. I think it did pretty well commercially, but critically, no one seemed to be overly impressed with it.
Yeah, it didn't have it. They did Superman to be another Dark Knight level movie, and it clearly didn't get there. Yeah, and clearly wasn't at the caliber they were hoping.
But back to Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck, as a director, has produced 3 great movies in a row. Gone Baby Gone. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
That was a good movie. He was not in the movie itself, but his baby brother Casey Affleck was. And then there was The Town, where Ben Affleck did a good job as Ben Affleck as a South Boston bank robber. Mm-hmm. He also was great as it was well written, well directed. And then he had Argo, which was, the movie that really pushed him into the limelight and made everyone realize that, holy shit, that guy who was hanging out with Matt Damon all the time is actually, pretty good at something. Yeah. So I feel like he's had 3 consecutive movies that were all well written, well directed, and very interesting.
And they did well.
And they all did well. So I feel like
you don't understand why he's doing it.
Yeah, I really don't understand why he would want to be Batman, since it would seem like he's just trying to follow in Christopher Nolan's and Christian Bale's shadows, when he's really proven himself to be his own man, to be a really special person in Hollywood.
Yeah, I agree. The only way this movie, I think, could be good is if they let Ben Affleck direct it. Because Zack Snyder, I can't stand Zack Snyder from a personal standpoint.
Well, I mean, that was one thing I heard from listening to one of my favorite podcasts, Let's Do This on Spill, where they proposed the idea that maybe Batman is going to train Superman how to use his powers, because did you see Man of Steel?
I did not see it.
Neither did I, but I heard one problem with the movie is the amount of destruction that Superman causes in Metropolis, and they don't really acknowledge it. But what if it's in the same universe as, Gotham, and Superman starts heading towards Gotham? And of course, you can imagine Batman saying, "Oh, no fucking way, you're not coming here and destroying my city." Yeah. And either he can train Superman to learn how to use his powers without leveling an entire city, or he can. The other thing I heard is that Batman might team up with Lex Luthor to find a way to take down, what's really a living WMD. That's what Superman is.
Yeah, like he's just like a living WMP who he really has the power to destroy the world. So it would be that would be an interesting place for the movie to go.
Yeah, and I remember you told me about this, but there's a rumor that Bryan Cranston might be in the running to play Lex Luthor.
That would be great.
Which would be really interesting and would also lend some credibility to what Warner Brothers is trying to do with either this sequel or maybe the Justice League movie, if they can pull in a superstar like Bryan Cranston, where, yeah, well, Bryan Cranston is, you might want to turn it down a bit.
Yeah.
Where Bryan Cranston is known more for his TV roles than his movie roles, he's still an incredibly talented actor and a household name at this point, so being able to pull in an A-lister like Bryan Cranston could be a big deal for
and I hope that's
them.
honestly, now that we're talking about it more, I hope that's the direction they go in, because I think it would be less like, Batman was a hero in the trilogy. He kind of was like psychotic and had a lot of issues, but if they do it like with him teaming up with Lex Luthor, it would make him kind of more of an anti-hero, and it would be a different like angle for the character. And
that's true, and if you really want to look at Batman as a more villainous figure, that is entirely possible, because when you think about it, Batman is really all about a rich kid who gets to dispense his own form of justice over an entire city because he's rich.
Exactly. And that, which is interesting, why people praise Batman, because it's just really like an extreme version of nepotism.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, he's like just the biggest spoiled brat ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to do good for
he's trying
people.
He's doing what he thinks is right.
But still, what if someone's brand of justice differs from what he considers to be justice?
Exactly.
Or what if someone considers what Batman's doing to be unjust? How will he respond?
And I think it'd be more because I hope, that could be a direction, because Christopher Nolan, in his style, is this kind of, sort of like gritty realism to Batman. Like, Batman, I haven't, like, in that trailer where he's being arrested by the military. It's kind of how people would react by this super-powered alien. People would be freaked out. Imagine if a super-powered alien just appeared in the middle of, like, Manhattan tomorrow. People would freak the hell out, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
And they wouldn't see him, as an ally. They'd see him as a potential threat. So why not have?
We would try to destroy him.
Why not have two, like Lex Luthor and Batman, two really rich people,
rich, intelligent people,
work together to try to neutralize what they believe is to be a threat.
Exactly. Yeah, that I think is the most interesting thing that you could possibly do with this Superman versus Batman movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Why are we at McDonald's right now?
I was thinking of grabbing some food.
Yeah, I could go for some munchies.
I'm in a munchy mood.
Do you have anything else to say?
I just wanted to add on by saying that I like the fact that Ben Affleck is doing Batman, and he might just save the franchise. At least I hope so. And if Bryan Cranston's on board, then there's hope for this movie.
Yeah, I am really curious to see what Ben Affleck's role is going to be in this movie,
and how they're going to portray Batman. Because I hope they probably need to take a different tone than the previous 3 movies. It can't be. Yeah. It's going to have to be different. I think they're smarter than that. At least Warner Brothers is, not to do the same type of character.
Yeah. And I definitely say, why not have Ben Affleck direct it, maybe write it? Because, well, he's already on board at this point. Mm-hmm. Why not throw some extra bones his way and just give him some extra work to make sure that the movie's awesome? Yep. Since we all know that he's a great writer and a great director. Yeah, I say why not? I'm after having this discussion, I'm kind of excited.
I am too, actually. Yeah. I just went from pessimistic to slightly more optimistic.
Yeah. And anything else to say?
No, I think you summed up my feelings exactly.
Alright, well, if that's it, we are gonna get some munchies. I hope you enjoyed this second episode of Car Chat. I'm Peter.
And I'm Alex.
and have a good night.